Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Troilus and Cressida, and we get to finish up Act 3, Scene 2 today with a little monologue from Cressida. Now remember, this is the scene where Troilus and Cressida get together, and Troilus has been very excited to meet her. She's been very excited to meet up with him as well, but she didn't want to let him know that she was in love with him. But after Pandarus arranged this whole thing and then left them some time to just speak, and then came back and found out that all they'd done during that time was talk, she was like, okay, fine, I'll say it, I'm in love with you. And then she was like trying to backtrack and trying to take it back and whatever. But Troilus finally spoke up and was like, you know what, I'm in love with you too, and I have been for a very long time, and I am going to prove so true in my love to you that for the rest of eternity, whenever somebody wants to remark on how true and how faithful someone's love is, they're going to say, as true as Troilus. And Cressida responds by saying, prophet may you be. If I be false, or swerve a hair from truth, when time is old and hath forgot itself, when water drops have worn the stones of Troy, and blind oblivion swallowed cities up, and mighty states, characterless, are grated to dusty nothing, yet let memory, from false to false, among false maids in love, upbraid my falsehood, when they've said as false as air, as water, as wind, as sandy earth, as fox to lamb, as wolf to heifer's calf, pard to the hind, or stepdame to her son. Yea, let them say, to stick the heart of falsehood, as false as Cressida. So she's kind of saying the same thing, but flips it, and instead of harping on being true, she's harping on being false, which is unfaithful. And she says, if I'm even just the tiniest bit unfaithful, then let me be known for the rest of time as the poster child for unfaithfulness, essentially is what she's saying. So it's supposed to be a nice sentiment, but the fact that she says false, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 times in this monologue. The fact that she says false 8 times in this monologue does kind of stick that in there, that maybe or maybe she won't be the most faithful person that there is. And there's also just something about saying at least 8 times in a monologue, like making that sound, it sounds harsh and unfriendly. So it's an interesting choice, and I know that it's supposed to just be a counterpoint to Troilus being true, that we have Cressida being false, but she is trying to get at basically the same point that Troilus was getting at, that she will be faithful to him, but she just got a really interesting way to say it. It's not quite as poetic and beautiful as perhaps the Romeo and Juliet exchange that happens in that play. But then Pandarus jumps in on this whole thing. He's like, yes, and since I'm the one that brought you together, let the person that brings lovers together forever be known as a Pandar, which is an interesting thing for him to say, since we know now that the word pandar, or a pandar, is someone who makes an illicit offer of sex. A pandar is known to be a pimp, essentially. So, but he thinks that this is going to be a great union, and he wants everybody that follows in his step, being the matchmaker for such great unions as this, to be known as a pandar, which, yeah, it didn't hold up that well, and we may see some more evidence of that even just within the context of this play. But it makes it kind of a humorous ending to this scene, that Troilus is like, I'm going to be true, and Cressida's like, I'm not going to be false, and Pandar's like, and everybody's going to know that I'm the one that brought you together, and all of our names are going to be synonymous with truth and falseness and bringing lovers together for the rest of time, because what else could they possibly want in this situation? But anyway, Pandarus, not just Pandar, takes them, one hand in each, and says a couple words that are supposed to serve as, I guess, sort of a marriage ceremony of sorts. And then he's like, and here over in this room is a bed, so go use it. You better break in that bed. So they go into that room and he's like, haha, they're going to use the bed. And that's the end of Act 3, Scene 2. So not quite as romantic, but it does get the point across that Troilus and Cressida may just be in lust instead of in love, or maybe they are really in love. I don't know. Come back tomorrow and we'll find out more about what happens to Troilus and Cressida. I'll see you then. Mwah.